Or if you have people in different teams, you may want to vary the message to different people, so you select one team. Then it's saved as draft. It's in a draft list, and from there you can, for example, preview it again or edit it more or duplicate it, so you have a team making this up. And then you of course send it, and you have a preview before sending. Yeah, everything looks good. Let's press send, and it's going to the sending mode. And after sending the messages, you will see how many successes or failures or throttling it's doing. So you can keep track that has it reached basically everyone. The great side about this, since it's using native APIs, it can send about 15,000 messages in an hour. If you compare that to Power Automate, that has more limits there. So, and if you have more receivers than 15,000, it's going to throttle them a bit and then just send more during the next hour. And the receiver gets the message with the link, nothing special. It's a simple, but it's a great starting point. The other great application there is FAQ plus V2. Yeah, it's a complex name, but you can rename this, of course. That's a FAQ bot running using Q&A database, but it has also the ability to contact the person and ask the expert. But I don't want to just talk about that. We can go ahead and take a look. As you can see, it's here in the Teams as a left rail, and I can start casual conversation. Yeah, it's a Q&A bot. You can have some answers and questions there, and you can have some fun there as well if you want to. So you can ask, who are you? You're a Cyberdyne System Model T800 friendly bot. Okay, but tell me about how do I create a new team? For example, there's a Q&A behind it. Okay, I'm getting an answer, but does this answer my question? Not necessarily. Let me ask another question. Who can create a new team? And okay, who? All right. It was who can create teams. It's always tricky to remember exact phrases, or because yeah, it requires a bit of exact phrase. The Q&A tries to do some fiddling around, and it works usually in English. But if you have two answers that are too close to each other, this happens. So you can get answer. There can be pictures, and yeah, I can go ahead and take a look. There's an open article. Yeah, that's just my blog. And but this doesn't satisfy me. I can go ahead and ask the expert. And in here I can say, but how do I get permissions to Teams Admin Center? For some reason I want to ask this one. I need to install bots. And I send it, and it's going to the expert. And it says it's been shared there, and it's still unassigned. And if I go to the team, I only have one person here, so I'm just running through my identity here. There's a new message in the team. How do I get permissions to Teams Admin Center? Okay, I'm requesting support from myself. I can view the article. Well, there wasn't much about the article. I can change the status. This has been assigned to me. And after that, everyone in a team knows, okay, I'm taking care of this, and I can go ahead and chat with Vesku. And in here, the requester, when I'm changing the assignment, he's going to get a notification that, okay, it's been now assigned, so you can expect somebody is going to reach you out. But that's not all. This is still basically out of the box FAQ plus V2 functionalities. And I haven't done any changes to the template here. What else is there? There's a messaging extension. So you can see what are the recent requests, what request has been unassigned, and what has been assigned. This is taking a while before it's populating this latest question there. So this assigned, these are not up to date in an online version. It's something like a delay from few minutes to 15 minutes. So, but if you are considering, did we miss something? Is the unassigned list empty? Yeah, no, it's not. Then it's a good way to keep in track. And we can, of course, search for tickets. But the interesting thing is the knowledge base. And here are all the articles that are in the Q&A database. And I can see, okay, who can create a team? I saw this one. I can view the details, so it's going to jump into the place when I edited and created this. Let's get rid of that so we can see a bit more. And I can go ahead and edit that more. So if this picture wasn't the best here, I can take it away or add more information here, redirection URLs, etc. And then I can save it, and it will update it directly to the Q&A database. And since it was slightly higher here, I can go out and check the update history as well. So, and of course, there was this plus. I can add new question, which was just the same as the edit in here. So you can work on the Q&A part directly from within the Teams. That's why it's a great template. And there are other great templates as well. So there's okay, there's my slide there. Remote support, for example, so you can get help from an internal team via Teams. It's a bit similar than the FAQ, but without the Q&A part. So you can reach out people. And I'm going to show a bit more about this in a moment. There's a Scrum status that will help with stand-up meetings that are throughout the different time zones. So it goes through the bot in a chat, and so you can all know what's going on and do you have any impediments or anything like that. Expert Finder, that's going to utilize the AAD user profile keywords, so you can find the right people. Incident Reporter, if you don't have a process in place, how to report and manage incidents, hey, that could be done in Teams. There are more. The samplers app templates are there. They are basically you can change anything you like. You can work with them. But the thing is that these are just basically a baseline. You can learn a lot if you are a developer out there and you want to learn how to make these bots, how to make these capabilities. You can use these as a starting point. So they are great for both businesses already, and they are great for developers to get ahead of Teams development. So you don't have to start from scratch. And next, I told you that I will tell you more about remote support. Not much, but I will go through the installation. This is about how to get started. So when you look at those application templates, then you look at the information, there's GitHub and everything, and it may feel, okay, I'm not sure if I want to do this. So hopefully this will help you to get to know more what's going to happen there. You will need Azure. You can't get away from that. There's a lots of some resources you are going to be needing. They are not all free. And if you are running on the default, as we are now doing on the default, this example, then yeah, it's going to cost something. Just keep that in mind. Every solution, however, has this overview and architecture, so you can learn more, your developers will learn more. And there's also a cost estimate, so you can have some idea how much using this is going to cost. You will need permissions to Azure. You need to register new Azure AD applications, and you will create resource groups. You will choose the resource group location or the data center, but keep in mind that its capabilities have to match those needed services. So in the development guide, there's a list of services that are needed, and there's usually a link to the Azure capabilities of each region. So you have to check that out, unless you know already they are supported. And as a tip, always create a new resource group when you are creating a bot or application, always. Even if you are just creating a Q&A database for some usage, it's going to make the management a lot more easier, and you know which resources are combined to which bot, because these create several resources. So That's a kind of important tip. The second tip is to follow the deployment guide. So the guide is usually very good, and it's a step-by-step guide. There's screenshots. There's sometimes minor kind of weird things there, but you just have to use common sense how you are going to go forward. And there's of course ability to add GitHub comments if you are if the guide doesn't make any sense. But so far you have been I have been able to go forward without issues. And when you are registering the new Azure application, you will need to store a few values. You will need that application ID, which is the client ID, which is the bot ID. Yeah, it has several names, but that's one ID. Don't get confused. You will need a client secret for the bot, and the directory ID, so your tenant ID. You will get them in the process. And you give a name for that application and choose the supported account types. That's in the development guide. And if you need to, you may need to add the redirect URI, but it's in the guide. Then you hit register. And in the next phase, you will get the application ID and the tenant ID. You store these. The next step is the certificates and secrets, and you will start creating a new client secret. The guide usually says it expires never, but of course you can use a shorter time span. You give it a friendly name, and after that you have the secret there, and you copy it off. Watch out for any blanks, so you don't have anything extra. That applies to the application ID as well. After that, it's just a script. Deployment guide has this deploy to Azure picture there, but hey, that's actually a link. You will click it open in the tenant where you have where you want to install this. And before going more to that form, for the remote support, you will need a team. So you will have your supporting team. So you have to either have to create that team or use existing one, and you just go to the three dots and get linked to a team and store it, because you will need it in the form. And in there, that's the form just divided into two parts. It's just a long form, and there you choose the subscription. That's where your money is drained from. The resource group, create a new one in the process. That's a best practice. Location of that resource group, and then give a base resource name. This name has to be unique. The most often reason I've had with this is that I am actually using a name that has been reserved. So that has to be unique in Azure. So come up with something interesting there. Then you put the bot client ID, which is the application ID from application registration, the secret. Then you can choose the friendly display name and description. This doesn't have to be unique. And you can change the application icon, and you paste in the team link. And then you agree to terms and conditions, and you purchase it. It doesn't cost anything, so you can just go ahead and deploy it. And later on, when you have more experience, you may want to change the plans, etc. Then the deployment starts. It can take hours, or it can take 15 minutes, but assume it will take a while. And wait patiently until it's done. And this took just 30 minutes or a bit less. And going to the resource group, I see what kind of resources have been created and where they are located. Okay, so this is why it's good to use the separate resource groups, because I wouldn't have any idea to which spot something like this would be applied to, for example. And after that, or during that, if you have issues, you may have issues. The name, I already mentioned that. You are hitting a duplicate name. And of course, if you are choosing a region without checking it out, you may not have all the services there. And I've also encountered a couple of strange hiccups, and I don't have any good reason for those, except the moon wasn't in the right position, or Azure was under heavy load during March and April, of course. But whenever you have an issue, determine what it was about, check the error, then start deleting the resource group and wait until it's deleted so you don't have another name conflict later. Then you start over with better names and luck. That's it. And while the deployment is going on, there's also the Teams part, the Teams applications. So you can go ahead and edit the manifest. Actually, you have to first get it. There's a link to GitHub. Yeah, it looks developerish, but what do you really need is the contents of this manifest folder. So you either download them one by one, or you just hit clone or download and extract the zip file and get the manifest file and export it, copy it to a nice directory. And from there, yeah, you need to do a bit that almost looks like coding, but it's just pasting some IDs. You have to prepare the Teams applications, and no, you don't need to be a developer. It's still no code, okay, I haven't typed it there. York will be creating two applications for this remote support, and one for end users and one for experts. So they are the one answering the questions. So you go to the directory, there's going to be two manifest files. One is named end user and another one is named the SME. For both of these, you will open them, these JSON files. One notepad will do just fine. And you will get your developer information with HTTPS URLs. Then you get the bot ID, which is the application ID, the client ID we had in the registration. And we just put it in here. And then we have the valid domain, which was the page resource name that had to be unique, added with AzureWebsites.net, and we put it there. And we do that to both files. After that, what we do, we have this kind of situation where we have two JSON files. We just copied the first one, the end user one, and renamed the copy as a manifest.json. So choose the color manifest.json and outline, zip them together. There can't be any folders here, just these three files. And after that, rename that zip to remote support end user bot, so we know that's an end user person. And we do the same for the SME JSON. We first delete the manifest file, then we copy this to be the manifest JSON and choose the three files and zip them. Then you have the packages you can upload to Teams. No coding. And you can go to Teams and in the apps and start uploading a custom app. And you just select those zip files and you can upload them, and then you can install them to yourself and check out if this works. And when you are going for the production or you have a wider audience, you can use the Teams Admin Center and set up policies to deliver the bots automatically, for example, to this left trail. And how does this look? I'm just going through this testing period in slides, showing that, okay, there's a welcome message and I can hit a new request. I fill in the request information, it's urgent. And I will get an updated message, just like in FAQ bot, and that, okay, it has been sent to the team. And the expert in the team sees that there's a new message from the remote support demo. It's urgent. Somebody has to take care of that. Okay, I will take care of that. I will go ahead and change the status, assign it to me, and the rest of the team knows it's been assigned to me, and the request sender will see that it has been assigned to someone. And what I would do next is the chat, just contact the person. So it was really simple. It's really, you can do it in an hour once you have done a few times, and basically the deployment takes almost the half an hour there. Some lessons learned. Of course, start with the development or test environment, not in a production. You will be deploying bots there, and your production has lots of other users as well. And you want to make sure that you have permissions to your development Azure as well. So you don't have to start asking around who can create that or do that, because of course it will slow down and it's not the point until it's in production. Keep tracking on Azure costs, they add up, especially on those defaults, add alerts and maximum so you don't have a nasty surprise. And you can check the pricing plans later for those components or when you're deploying that, perhaps utilizing a free tier. Wait for those operations to complete. And when you have done testing with something and you know you're not coming back there, delete those apps and bots so they don't use your Azure resources, which is money. If you are intending to customize it, the bot or application, when you are testing it out, you will see, okay, there's something interesting parts you could add or do. Then talk to a developer before you do hit that bot to production. What are the steps that should be done? Perhaps they want to fork the GitHub to themselves and have their own branch and do some changes and then upload using their own routines. So in that phase, you need to talk to a developer. And as a reminder about the application templates, this is the place where you can find more information. All right, part 2. The Power Virtual Agents. And this is about conversational bots. So we saw something about the conversation, but that was just asking questions. And yeah, when we start to create conversational bots, yeah, it takes a long time, and I have to have a doctor's degree in machine learning and AI, and I need a bunch of developers which are gurus. No, we don't want to do that. We don't want to use that. It's wrong. We can go and deploy a bot even faster than with application templates, and that will be conversational bot, and that has AI with it. That's so cool about Power Virtual Agents, because it gives you all the tools. It gives you the platform, the AI, the integration parts and design canvas. So you don't have to code. You can create a conversation flow. And so you don't have to understand anything about the machine learning or AI, and you can start creating this. And then where you need a bit of coding, most likely, or code-ish, developer-ish, the skills is the Power Automate, but that's just going to extend what you can do with Power Virtual Agents. And if you are familiar with Power Automate, yeah, the cloud's the limit, or not even the cloud. It's just up to the imagination what you want to do and what kind of APIs you have available. So how do you get started? You define different topics and you create that conversation flow. What kind of questions, what kind of answers there are. And currently they have this natural English understanding, so you don't have to specify every exact phase. It will learn and have understanding about common mistakes, even spelling errors, so you don't have to be perfect there. There's a reporting analytics parts that allow the organizations to see how the bot is actually used. Yeah, this is all very cool. Is there a downside? Well, it's not free. It's about the licensing part. It's 1K USD for 2,000 sessions a month. And what's a session? It's not a single question. It's about 100 turns, exchange of messages between the chatbot and the user, for example, or when the user ends the chat, hey, goodbye, or it lasts more than 60 minutes once it's started. So it's 2000 seems like really rush first or really bad first, but it's about perhaps solving 2,000 questions or 2,000 conversation flows a month, then it's not that bad in a business. And what these are? Okay, let's go and take a look what you can do with the Power Virtual Agents. So where's my window? There. Okay. We can go ahead and try the community bot, and I have some topics there. And I can see I have a speaking, beginning, next events. So not much. I have turned all the lessons off. And since these are bots that are also used with the B2C customers, there's a very easy way to put them to a website or publish them outside. So in this case, we would be talking about community bot. And I'm thinking about the kind of bot helping about what kind of upcoming meetings there are, and perhaps submitting sessions for speaking. All right, meetings are next. Let's see if I remember the phrases. Okay, I remembered. I didn't have to be that exact. And I can see there's something upcoming events. Okay, there's perhaps 15th of June. Okay, I'm speaking about virtual bots there. Okay, there's a meeting, join info and buy. All right, what meetings are next? Is there a slot opening, for example, to the 2nd of June? All right, there's nobody there. I would like to submit a session. All right, and I'm going to go for the 2nd of June. What's the topic? This would be a PVA bots in Teams. I will show how to get started. And let's go and just put the test.com address there. Are you ready to submit? Yes, I'm ready. All right, and what's going to happen? It's going to go through the submits, and yeah, it's there. They're going to be emailing me. What's happening in Teams? Once the Power Automate connected to that awakes, I can go to the, not to that, but the community team and see there's a new session submit just happened in Finnish time. And I submitted the session and I have some notifications. Okay, the flow is awaiting approval. So I got the information in here. Okay, well, there's a new session submit. Perhaps the approval should be happening. All right, there. And I can then approve this session and say submit. And the session, what I just submitted, is actually in a SharePoint list, and it's at the PVA and in Teams. I can see it's in here. And since this was all about Teams as well, I have the same bot running in Teams. What sessions are next? Let's see if that works. Or do I have to rephrase? No, I didn't have to rephrase and see the 2nd of June. Okay, I can contact to that as well. So I can be interactive here. What's it's doing in the Power Virtual Agents? Let's go and check on the speaking opportunity. I can see the conversation canvas. This is quite simple. Just the trigger phases, messages. I could ask more questions there. Okay, I have a list of options for available upcoming events. For example, this is done very simple way. And then I ask more questions. I'm storing the topic name, I'm storing the summaries, person with title, phones, and then I'm asking confirmation. And if it's going to be yes, I'm going to tell them I'm going to be submitting and there's the Power Automate. I'm going to dispatch these values to Power Automate. And I can get to see what I created there. Let's go directly to edit. So you can see some of the steps there. I get the values from Power Virtual Agent directly. And then there's the some message ID, so I can post the information to the team, and I can create the item to the SharePoint list. And then I'm doing simultaneously returning values to Power Virtual Agent, so I know it's the submitting worked. And I get getting the item, posting the message to the flow button, asking for the approval using adaptive card. And if it was okayed, then it goes to the information goes to the team, and then it goes to the updating the SharePoint list. So this is one way you can bring more interesting interactivity through the PVA. And as you can see, yeah, you need to know a bit more in the Power Automate, but that's not too bad. So what else could there be? Let's go and switch to the virtual HR agent. This is also connected to the Q&A database. So there's a database for questions and answers back, but there's also a kind of a HR support. Let's take some burden off from the HR. And actually that's the same as with the FAQ V2+, but that can be a HR bot, IT support bot, sales support, financials, or payroll department, what kind of questions there is, what kind of information I want to ask. So if I go to the support agent, I can ask like, I had to start over when the office has been cleaned. Let's see if that works or not. Asking about the last cleaning information. Okay, it didn't get that, but hey, it's suggesting that perhaps you mean that. And then it will go to the Power Automate, get the information from SharePoint list. And if you get the latest cleaning information from anywhere, you can put that to the list. And hey, you can surface information from your backend directly to the users using a bot. And you could even do this in the phone, for example. Or you can make more interactive with like, I have a concern about the office, for example. Okay, it couldn't understand me. Let's try the other way. I have some issues at the office, and let's say there isn't enough hand sanitizer in men's room. And do you want us to contact them? No. Okay, that didn't understand. It understood nay, but let's put the email. I don't want to. And since it's asking for the email, I just put the email. Otherwise, you won't be going forward. So you can check on some of the entities. Is the answer in the right way? All right, it answered the question. And from there, there's also a Power Automate connected to that, and it will just punch that information to the team, and it will also create a task for that team, and there's a list where the anomalies are. So you can bring in more processes with these. And since I still have at least a bit of time, I want to show you a third version here. Let's go to the bots, and I have my virtual demo bot. I don't have that much topics there. This is just the kind of bot that you have already just started to work on. And I added only one of my own there, and I turned off everything else. Let's take the test bot off. And there's trigger phases, and there's when I get there, I can get an answer, and then it will start asking me some questions. So I have some flows in here. Do you happen to live in Turku? Yeah, these are pre-done. But then I have some answers. Yes, no, never. I live in a car, and the bot can kind of bring in some of the answers here. Hey, awesome, I live there too. Yes, I do. Or you can go to the too bad, but I can understand. It's a tough place. It's just a very beautiful. This is a very beautiful city, especially during the summer. Excellent archipelago and stuff. And then it will go there. But what we want to do, we want to get this to Teams. So I want to, this bot has been published, but I will define a channel. I will go there and choose the Teams channel. I tested this, of course, but I can get the application ID. So this is the application ID there, and I will go to the Teams and not apps, but App Studio, and to the manifest editor. And I have the Marathon demo bot here. I have pre-created it because then I don't have to type everything these when I'm doing it, all the URLs. I didn't change the pictures, but I want to add a bot as a capability. I want to set it up. I have an existing bot. We have a ID there, and my bot is in a personalized scope, so it's working on the left rail. I will save it and test and distribute. Okay, let's go ahead and test it. Install, add it to my team's personal. This isn't going to anybody else here. And let's see, I have a bot up and running. It's in here. Hey, it's the same bot that was before. Okay, it can help. What's the session all about? Let's see if it can get that. It only has one choice, so it shouldn't be too difficult when it's starting that up. Come on, bot. I still have a few minutes. All right. Now it's coming back. It's about Teams, bot, and agents, as we saw. I'm from Finland. Yes. Do you happen to live in Turku? Yes. Yeah. Let's try that one. Sorry, I didn't understand. Okay. Yes. All right. And did it answer to my question? Yeah. And splendid. Do you want to rate it? Yes. And then it ends. No thanks. So the session ends here. So it's that quick, easy to test it in a team. And now if I wanted that bot, again, I click from the wrong place, to be installed to everyone within Teams, I would go to the manifest editor. I would download the package. I would upload it to Teams tenant, then go for the Teams admin center, set up policies, and distribute it. And it would appear here on the left rail for everyone. All right, that was a bunch of demos in a record time. So these are very great. There's lots of different functionalities. You can put different processes here and start using Teams. And okay, there, how to get started. Get the developer tenant or use test tenant. Developer program is an excellent way to get a new tenant. Then navigate to powerva.microsoft.com and activate your trial. Just get started by entering your email address related to the tenant. The tenant is 30 plus 30 days, so that the first trial is 30 days, but you can extend it to another 30 days. And there's a great guide for starting to create your first bot, so you learn about all this I already showed you. And then you get started. There's a Power Virtual Agent site setting up the region. It's also already asking a new bot name. It's creating a bot, taking a few minutes. When it's realizing it's going to take a while, it may take up to 15 minutes. Come on. And then you can go ahead and start working, see what's going on already, but you can't do anything until the time has passed and it's ready and you can start working on. And just to show a really quick, where's my there? If I go to the Power Virtual Agents, hey, there's a new bot. I want to create a new bot, so it's let's say Virtual Bot 2, and just starting to create it, and that's how it's going to create the all the template stuff. There's all the lessons you can ask for store hours, and you can dig through those and see how they are working. And yeah, just to show you, yeah, it wasn't very long. And if I ask for store hours, which is in default topics there, yeah, it's already working. Okay, so come on, there, Power Virtual Agents are the new superpower. They are really powerful. If you need to have a conversational processes, you can digitalize them and help the people in HR, IT, and in other departments, sales processes, and combining that AI with magic, with the Power Automate magic, then you have a really interesting, or not interesting, but kind of platform where you can do lots of things. Just start thinking about where you can use it. But the big thing is you have to get started. These are not scary. These are really easy, even the Azure part. And so, of course, feel free to be in touch, Twitter, LinkedIn, Teams me at my work address, for example. And there's a few minutes before the next session starts. I will go through and check the Q&A if there's any questions here. And meanwhile, thank you for joining us, for joining the virtual marathon, for joining my session. Please give me feedback through the forum or use Twitter and just punch me directly. And of course, give event feedback as well. So I guess it's for the next speaker in just a few minutes or in this room. But hey, thank you everyone, and have a great rest of the virtual marathon. Have a great session, Pasavara.
Hi friends, we'll start the session in another minute. Let's start the session. Hi, good afternoon everyone. I am Basaraj Brother, software architect with 19-year experience in Microsoft technologies. Today I'll walk you through a session where I can convert raw data to beautiful reports and insights using Power BI. Now SharePoint conference is renamed as Microsoft 365 Collaboration Conference. It will be held next year in March, and note down the date. Thanks to all the sponsors for their generous support to us. Without them, this event would not have been possible. I request everyone to participate in the raffle. There is a chance to win goodies, and consider donating to the following charities. The agenda for today's session is, let's understand what is Power BI first, then understand the different components of Power BI and its workflow. Then we'll go through a demo. It is complete demo driven session which covers various Power BI features and components, and where we'll convert a raw data to a beautiful report. Let's start with Power BI. What is Power BI? Power BI is the #1 self-service BI product. It is mainly used for creating beautiful visualizations and get the insights out of the data. Okay. For example, you have raw data. You can pull the raw data from various sources. It can be structured, unstructured. After pulling that data from various data sources, you can transform that data, and after transforming the data, you can generate beautiful reports and also get the insights out of it. Moving on, let's understand what are the different Power BI components and general how the workflow works. Okay. These are Power BI desktop is one of the main component. It is like a exe which you can download from powerbi.microsoft.com. It is completely a free product. You can download and install on your machine.